This series of videos will demonstrate the entire process of setting up a straightforward channel flow case from creating a geometry to analyzing the results. We will assume that CONVERGE and CONVERGE Studio have been installed on your machine and that your license has been set up. In this video, you will learn how to create a channel with a rectangular cross-section and assign its surface triangles to different boundaries. Open CONVERGE Studio and click the New Project button to open a blank project file. You can use CONVERGE Studio to create a simple geometry. The geometry dock is usually on the left side of the screen. If the geometry dock is not visible, then you can open it by going to the View menu and checking the appropriate checkbox. Click on the Create button and then on the Shape tab and check the Box Radio button. Here, you can fill in the values for the dimensions of the box and for the location of its center. Note that CONVERGE uses SI units, so these dimensions are in meters. In the center field, enter the values 0.05, 0, and 0 meters. For the size in meters parameter, enter 0.1, 0.01, and 0.01 meters for the values of dx, dy, and dz, respectively. This will place the channel such that the inlet boundary is at x equals 0 meters and the outlet boundary is at x equals 0.1 meters. Then, click the Create button and CONVERGE Studio will build the channel geometry. Next, you need to create boundaries and assign the surface triangles to these different boundaries. For this channel flow case, there are 5 boundaries: the inlet, outlet, front, back, and top and bottom. In the Geometry dock, click on the Boundary button and then on the Flag tab. Click the plus button to open the Boundary Definition dialog box. For this example, we need to create 5 boundaries, so check the Create Multiple Boundaries checkbox. Enter 1 for the starting boundary ID, 5 for the number of boundaries to create, and click the OK button. You will then see the newly created boundaries listed in the Flag tab of the Geometry dock. Right-click on each boundary and give it an appropriate name. You will have to rotate and pan the geometry to orient it so that you can select the correct surface triangles when assigning them to boundaries. In the Geometry dock, click on the Options button and then on the Mouse tab. If you wish to modify the mouse controls for panning, rotating, and zooming, you may do so here. When you are finished, click on the Boundary button and then on the Flag tab. To assign surface triangles to the inlet boundary, you must first click on the inlet boundary in the boundary list of the Flag tab. Make sure that you have selected the triangle selection criterion in the Bi-Angle Entity Selection filter. To determine which end of the channel is the inlet boundary, display the CSys coordinate by going to the View toolbar on the left side of the screen, clicking on the View Options button, and checking the CSys coordinate checkbox. CONVERGE Studio will then display the X, Y, and Z axes at the origin. If the View toolbar is not visible, you can enable it by going to the View menu, clicking on the Toolbars drop-down menu, and checking the View toolbar checkbox. Then, click on the rectangular cross-section of the channel on which the CSys coordinate is centered to select the appropriate triangles and click the Apply button. CONVERGE Studio will assign the selected triangles to the inlet boundary and change their color to match the assigned color for the inlet boundary. Repeat the flagging process for the other 4 boundaries. The outlet boundary is the rectangular cross-section opposite from the inlet boundary. The top and bottom boundary is the sides displaced from the XZ plane in the Y direction. The front and back boundaries are the sides displaced from the XY plane in the Z direction. It does not matter which of these 2 you flag as the front or the back boundary. When you are finished assigning triangles to these boundaries, make sure that the Not Assigned boundary now contains 0 triangles. The Not Assigned boundary has a boundary ID of 0 and is located at the top of the list of boundaries in the Flag tab. Now that you have created the geometry and assigned the surface triangles to the boundaries, it is a good idea to save your progress. CONVERGE Studio uses the .cvg file format to save the geometry and case setup. Go to File, Save As to save this project. The next two videos in this series will show you how to set up this channel flow case in CONVERGE Studio.